Hey guys, and welcome to Lift Online's backbend or gymnastics bridge tutorial. The gymnastics bridge or backbend is an excellent exercise for developing active shoulder flexion as well as spinal and hip extension. We recommend before taking part in this exercise that you focus on the wrist prep and the shoulder mobility tutorials found on the Lift Online archive. This is going to make sure that you're fully prepared before jumping into the more advanced backbend routines. To take part in this routine, you're going to need a dowel or a broomstick, 2 yoga blocks, and possibly a foam roller depending on your level of ability, as well as an elevated surface, whether that's a gymnastics box, a chair, a table, or so on. Get yourself thoroughly warmed up before jumping right into exercise 1. Enjoy. For exercise 1 in our backbends routine, we're going to be looking at easy bridge raises. The easy bridge raise is going to help you to develop shoulder extension as well as hips extension. To start with, place yourself on the floor and bend the knees slightly. You're going to place your hands behind you so that your middle fingers are pointing away and that your elbows are locked out and externally rotated throughout the whole movement. Depress and retract the shoulder blades, making sure that we have our chest proud and our tummies are pulled in. From here, you're going to extend the hips by squeezing the glutes, drive the knees outside of the ankles slightly, grip the floor with the feet, and drive the shoulders back into retraction and depression. From here, hold at the top, register the movement before slowly lowering back to the start position and keeping the shoulders externally rotated and depressed at all time. Repeat this for 3 rounds of 10 repetitions before moving on to the next exercise. Exercise 2 is going to see us taking that easy bridge raise a little bit further. This time we're going to add rotation as well as active shoulder flexion with the other arm. The setup for the position is exactly as we did with the previous exercise, but this time we're going to use only one arm at a time. Place the arm on the floor behind you, the middle finger pointed away, and ensure the shoulder is retracted, depressed, and externally rotated. With the other arm, place it in front of you. As you drive the hips up through extension, externally rotate both arms, top and bottom, and keep the arm locked out on top at all time. Pass it around as far as you can so that you feel a nice active stretch before returning back to the start position. You can see here from behind, externally rotated in the top arm, as well as being externally rotated in the bottom. Hold at the top, register the tension before returning back to the start position. Repeat this for 3 to 5 repetitions on each arm for 3 rounds before moving on to the next exercise. For exercise 3, you're going to need a stick and potentially a wall or a box, depending on which variation of this exercise is most suitable for you. We've prepared 2 variations for you. For the first variation, we're going to start in a nice kneeling lunge with the legs aligned on train tracks so that we have stability. From here, you're going to place the stick over the back of the shoulders, ensuring that the shoulders are driven down into depression and rotated externally. Place the back foot on the floor so that the bridge is down and pressing down hard into the floor with your shin. From here, create tension in the hip by pulling into this nice posterior tilt and also activating that front hamstring to keep the legs locked in. From here, you want to keep the hips tucked so that you're not uncontrollably extending through the hip. Your idea here is that you're holding that posterior tilt in the hip and then extending the spine from there in a controlled fashion. The more that you can externally rotate the elbows, the more you're going to get that all-important extension through the upper part of the back. If you want to make this exercise a little more difficult, then simply place your foot on a wall or a box behind you. This is going to lengthen the front of the thigh or the quadriceps and put more pressure on the hip flexor, forcing you to develop more extension in the hip. The position is exactly the same, gripping the stick on the shoulders. The only difference now is that the toe is placed up against the wall. Aim to repeat this for 6 to 8 controlled repetitions on each leg for 3 rounds before moving on to the next exercise. Our next exercise is going to help us once again develop full extension of the body. To start with, you're going to lay yourself down on the floor in a pronated position. This means that the chest is down to the floor. From here, bend the knees so that the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Reach around behind you and grab hold of your ankles, ensuring that the shoulders are externally rotated, retracted, and depressed. You're then going to pulse up, pulling the ankles away and creating tension between the arms and the legs, squeezing the glutes and holding that top position for 3 seconds. Return to the start position in a controlled manner before pulling up into the top once again, feeling the whole extension, all of the muscles of extension working throughout the posterior chain. Repeat this for 10 repetitions for 3 rounds before moving on to exercise 5. Now that you guys have thoroughly warmed up with the first 4 exercises, we're now going to look a little closer at controlled extension of the spine. For this exercise, you're going to need 2 yoga blocks and a foam roller. The higher the object is behind you, the easier the exercise. So this will depend on your level of ability. The setup for the position will see you place the objects behind you as a target. You want to align yourself so that they are in line with the toes. The toes should be pointed behind you and the shins driven down into the floor. From here, you want to pull into a posterior tilt, ensuring that your spine has a stable base to extend from. Let the hands fall to the sides and slowly begin to extend the spine, keeping the chin tucked in at all times. Slowly lower back under tension. Touch the head gently on the object behind you before then pulling back with the anterior chain back into the start position. Repeat this for 8 to 10 repetitions with a pause at the bottom of the rep for 3 rounds. Now, as you get better at this exercise, you simply need to lower the target behind you so that you're getting more range of motion out of your body. The setup is exactly the same. Keep that control slowly all the way down until you can gently rest your head on the object behind you and then aim to pull back to the start position without deviating the hips. You can continue to lower the target behind you until eventually you can touch your head on the bottom yoga block or in fact the floor. Hold and return. As you get better at this, you'll develop more control and eventually be able to touch that head right down to the floor. For exercise 6, we're going to be looking at a butcher's block stretch. For this exercise, you're going to need your dowel or broomstick and an object or a surface in front of you. In this case, we've got our exercise box. The setup for this position will see you take the stick in each hand, ensuring that you're gripping it in a supinated grip, meaning that your palms are facing up. From here, you want to grip it at shoulder width or just outside to allow yourself to pass through as you place the elbows on the front of the box. From here, you want to flex the spine so that you can take the tension underneath the armpits and feel it through the trunk. From here, you can move the spine then down through extension and flexion, pausing in both positions for 3 seconds. Repeat this for 10 repetitions for 3 rounds before moving on to exercise 7. For exercise 7, we're now going to look at entering the back bend from the floor. This exercise is going to help you to develop enough of baseline strength to then elevate yourself off of the ground. The setup for this exercise is going to see you lying yourself down onto the floor with your back on the ground. Bend the legs so the knees are pointing up and then place the hands either side of your ears so that the fingers are pointing back towards your heels. From here, elevate the hips into extension and then begin to bend the arms, holding in this position. It's important that you keep adducting the shoulders, aiming to bring the elbows together to create tension in the shoulder and the torso. Hold in this position for 3 seconds for 10 repetitions for 3 rounds. Now, if you want to make this exercise a little more challenging, we can add more intensity to the shoulders by elevating the hips even higher. You're going to need a box or an object in front of you in which to place your feet on. The setup everywhere else is exactly the same. Elevate the hips through extension and press, lifting the head 3 or 4 inches off of the floor before returning back to the start position. Hold once again at this top position here for 3 seconds, adducting the shoulders, and repeat this for 10 repetitions for 3 rounds. Our next exercise is going to see us recruiting the wall as an assisted back bend. The setup for this position is going to require you to stand with your back facing a wall. You want to place yourself so that your hips are on the wall and you extend those legs slightly out in front of you. The further away you bring your legs, the less pressure will be put on the spinal extension. From here, drive the hips off of the wall into extension before placing the hands in the back bend position and driving away with the shoulders. Ensure that you're flexing the shoulders hard and extending the spine, keeping the glutes on and the tummy engaged. You want to hold this position for a max hold, and you're looking for anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. Repeat this for 3 to 5 rounds depending on your level of ability before moving on to the next exercise. Our penultimate exercise in this routine is the elevated back bend. The elevated back bend is a great exercise as it targets the shoulders and thoracic and alleviates any compensation that you may be experiencing in the lumbar spine. You're going to want a surface in which you can place your feet on, the height of which will depend on your level of ability, as the higher the surface, the more pressure is put on the shoulders. From here, you want to measure yourself so that your bum is just in front of the knees and towards the box in front of you. Place the feet on the edge of the box so that the arches are over the box edge. From here, externally rotate the elbows, gripping the floor with the hands before driving yourself up into the back bend position. It's important to note that you're looking to keep the shoulders tight at all time, adducting the shoulders before driving outwards with the legs, extending the knees in order to put more pressure on the thoracic spine. You want to hold this position for a max hold by aiming for anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds before slowly returning down to the floor, keeping the elbows tight and placing yourself back down in the start position. Repeat this for 3 to 5 sets depending on your level of ability before trying the final exercise, the floor-based back bend. Now that you've completed all of the other exercises in this tutorial, it's time to test our back bend off of the floor. The setup for the back bend is quite simple. You're going to place yourself with your back down onto the floor, bending your knees so they're tightly gripped just underneath your butt cheeks at shoulder width. From here, you're going to place the shoulders in the correct position, making sure that the fingers are pointing back towards the hips and the heels. Extend the hips up and drive up into extension, flexing the shoulders and keeping that nice tension between the feet and the hands. From here, you can hold this position, aiming to explore different lines of tension throughout the bend. You want to hold this position, once again, from anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds, depending on your level of ability, really focusing on that mind-body connection throughout the entirety of the movement. Repeat this for 3 to 5 rounds, depending on your level of ability. And that will conclude our back bends tutorial. Well done, guys. You completed the back bends tutorial. We hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about any of the exercises or any of the reps or sets that you've seen in today's video, then please get in touch at info@liftthemovement.com and we'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. As always, we love to see your progress. So please tag lift.themovement on Instagram and we'll be sharing the best from our community on our stories. We'll see you next time.